Animals have a wide range of behavior to help them survive both individually and in groups. Factors such as resource availability, like food, water, and shelter, as well as the well-being of the group in face of an enemy, changes their behavior. Their behavior is dictated by the pros and cons of taking action in the face of competition. Sometimes an individual will make a sacrifice for the group, or sometimes they will all work together in collective behavior. This is all seen all the time in the wild. If a vulture and a wolf both find an animal to eat, they are going to directly fight in order to gain their food for the day. Or if both of your dogs are hungry and there's only one bowl of food, both will have some food in order to ensure the group mates survive. The intensity and length of competitive behavior are event-specific and come with a lot of diversity between different animal populations. Competitive behaviors are rationalized through evolutionary theory in order to survive and pass on an animal's own or group's gene to their offspring. Bacteria act similarly to animals when it comes to competitive behavior. These tiny microorganisms are usually seen as passive bugs that live on surfaces and inside you. However, bacteria live in dense communities that rely on competitive behavior to secure their survival. This need for survival has allowed bacteria to evolve strategies to compete over the course of evolution. Similar to the behavior of animals, bacteria have come up with ways to sense other groups of bacteria, scarcity of resources, and their own community density. Some produce toxins, like the antibiotics you take when you are sick, in order to eliminate competitor bacteria that are taking up a group's space in food. Others will send an SOS signal when an individual bacterium is either being attacked or dying, in order to signal colony mates to start a counterattack in collective behavior to protect the whole. These strategies help bacteria communicate and survive in a surprisingly competitive bacterial world. There are many ways that bacteria compete with each other, where cells either directly touch or do not touch each other. The processes where the cells don't touch allow them to keep a distance from competing cells and tend to be diffusion-based strategies. These deliver harmful toxins to the competing bacteria. Toxins can come in all shapes and sizes, and their main function is to kill competitors. These toxins harm the target bacteria by interfering with the cell's ability to grow and divide. The toxins can be passed through the membrane in a process called diffusion, or carried in a membrane vesicle. These attacks can prevent further attacks by weakening the enemy cell. An example of this can be seen in the toxin Carlson. Carlson-producing cells sense DNA damage and respond by making the toxin to prevent any more damage from happening. An alternative method of toxin release is a sacrificing method. The toxins can also be released when a cell explodes in a process called cell lysis. Delivering toxins through cell-cell contact is most commonly done through the type 6 secretion system. The T6SS is a machine that looks like a limb that can expand and contract, almost like a slinky. The system delivers toxins through a tube that is structured like a harpoon and made up of proteins. When it contracts, the tube is shot out and punctures the membrane of the target cell, similarly to how a harpoon can puncture its target. T6SS is give and take, as it has been seen to follow a tit-for-tat method where the bacteria cells use it as a weapon after a counterattack. In these toxin delivery processes, genetically identical bacteria that have the same most recent common ancestor are kept safe from toxins through immunity proteins. These immunity proteins are almost like a flag that the bacteria cells have to signal to neighboring bacteria that they are genetically identical. A method that bacteria use to fight each other that requires cell-cell contact is the use of mechanical weaponry. This is where proteins can bind to the sugars at the surface of the cell and form pores in the target cell's membrane, causing cell death. Furthermore, biological weaponry uses prophages, which are viruses that infect bacteria that look like a spider with fibers on the bottom. They have the ability to insert themselves into the target cell and remain silent and hidden until there is a stress present that activates them. Upon activation, the virus multiplies, causing the cell to break down its membrane, killing the bacteria. It is incredibly important to understand the world of bacterial competition. Bacteria are an integral part to almost every part of our lives. They shape our ecosystem, food, industry, health, and diseases. Over 100 trillion bacteria live in our gut alone. Seeing how these bacteria compete with each other can help us better understand how they work within our own bodies and within other organisms in both a beneficial and harmful way. Understanding competition can also help us create new drugs using competitive strategies from beneficial microbes to combat disease-causing bacteria that are not affected by your current drugs.